right, YouTube, thank you for joining me today. Apparently, Ripple is under siege as 63 banks collaborate on a new payment systems market. So I wanted to cover this. I know this is already being shared around. Once again, this outfit here, You Today, they continue to do clickbait headlines and try to spread information that's either like way too hype for Ripple XRP, or they go the complete opposite, which we see with these influencers doing as well. I always just try to shoot it straight at you guys, and here we can see once again that this outfit is trying to jump on this opportunity that Ripple and XRP has a competitor that's going to take us down, titling this Ripple is under siege. I mean, it's just so ridiculous. There is no way. Ripple has been at the table, been in these meetings with the same central banks that own the BIS since the very beginning, going all the way back to 2012 and even before Ripple was even conceived. Remember, this is the best cryptocurrency company out in the space by far. There is no comparison. So we're going to go through this, and I'm going to take us down memory lane. For those of you who remember, this is at the Swiss National Bank, BNS. Basically, we had a meeting of all the central bankers here, along with the IMF, BIS. Right here, you have Christine Lagarde pictured here, and she was the head of the IMF. Now she is the president of the European Central Bank. Oh, and yes, our little guy Brad here just happened to make it on in, invited to a meeting of central bankers, and this was back, I believe, in 2019. And so we have the director of money markets at the IMF, the chairman of the Saudi Arabian Monetary Authority, we have the chief exec of the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, and continuing on, we have Christine Lagarde, IMF, already mentioned her. We have Thomas Jordan, from the chairman of the Swiss National Bank. We have Elwira, I'm not even going to try it, but the head of the Central Bank of Russia. And see, Brad is sitting up here. He's been invited as a guest speaker here in front of all of these central bankers, in front of all these heads of the Monetary Authority, of the International Monetary Fund with Christine Lagarde. And Brad and Ripple has developed relationships with all of these banks, central banks, and even with the Bank of International Settlements. Now, I wanted to pull up this classic clip here from Digital Asset Investor. This is from a September 10th, 2020 video from Digital Asset Investor. And this is Miguel Valles, who used to be the head of XRP markets. And so I'm going to play this clip. It's an oldie, but it's a goodie, just to remind you guys of the types of talks and presentations that Ripple has been giving to over 50 central banks. In another video, we have Miguel Valles saying that they're working with 50 central banks, and that was years ago. Now, we already know, Bank of England already piloted XRP Ripple back in 2018. We had the oldest bank in Russia, saying that Ripple XRP, after their tests in 2018, could be the basis for a new cross-border payment system. So these outfits, these influencers, want to jump on the headlines and act like there's some sort of competitor out here for Ripple and XRP. Nothing will stop what is coming in terms of the success of Ripple and XRP. Let's just be very clear about that. So I'm going to run this clip, and you guys can hear it yourselves from the head of XRP markets at Ripple, Miguel Valles.
For XRP, because now granted, he is saying that he believes in his lifetime that XRP, digital currencies like that, will be held by central banks. But my question is this. I have two questions from this video. How does Chris Larson have such access to the IMF in the first place? And all these people at Ripple, they have access to the Treasury and everything else. How'd that happen? And the other question I have is, if in his lifetime, we're going to see digital assets and such as XRP held by central banks, what is going to happen when the average Joe public realizes and finally understands that is going to happen? And what's going to happen to the prices of XRP once that's realized as people rush in? But he makes some excellent points in this video, and you need to listen good. If you don't listen to anything in this video, listen to this.
What I would say is I think a digital currency, and I think XRP is the best designed one to do this. An independent digital currency that can't be debased makes a lot of sense to hold in reserve. right? Like that's just, just objectively, right? I mean, you can take kind of the Bitcoin out of it, the XRP out of it, the Ethereum out of it, doesn't matter. Like the fact that no one can mess with this thing the way you can't mess with gold is a good thing for reserves broadly, right? If things are liquid and things are stable. And that was our goal at Ripple, was to get it to be liquid enough so that folks could at least start thinking about it in that way, right? I mean, the space is so young, it's so early that, Patrick Griffin, who was my boss at Ripple and he's since left, and old Ripper, 2012, one of the first 6 or 7 folks, would tell me stories about how Chris would send him to the IMF and send him, to the BIS and send him to these places to talk about digital currencies back in 2013. And, everybody was looking at this kid who was like 28 or 29 at the time, like he had 19 heads. And, that's changed, right? And I think that's an incredible amount of progress in and of itself. I think it's inevitable that eventually we will get to a point where central banks and regular banks hold these things on reserve the same way they hold any asset, right? But here's an asset that is immutable. You can move it around easily, and is non-debasable, right? I mean, you can basically debase almost anything else. You can dig more things out of the ground. You can certainly print more money. You could borrow more money. You could do a lot of these things. You could issue more stock. I mean, you could almost, even commodities to a certain level aren't debasable. So I think it's a really interesting kind of mental construct to think about. And I believe, and I always will believe this, and hopefully I'll see it come true, that in my lifetime, we will see central banks hold digital currencies on reserve. And I have no reason to think that XRP wouldn't be one of those.
So there you have it, guys. I mean, it's very simple. For those of us in the community that have been here for years, I continue to see all these new theories coming up for why XRP is not going to be used. And it's not about saying that XRP is the one, the end all be all. I do believe it's the best digital asset for the wholesale payment use case, for running a derivatives market, for basically solving a lot of problems for the banks and financial institutions, for tokenizing the commodities market, the stock market, the decentralized exchange that's built in to the XRP ledger. I mean, it's had no downtime in 10 years and it operates flawlessly at nearly no cost, no energy burn. It just checks all of the boxes. And then when you go look at Ripple, that company, it is 100% undeniable that they have been at the table working with all of the players that matter. And like he was saying in this, basically they were sending representatives to all of these central banks, to the Bank of International Settlements. And remember, they have access to the Treasury. They had Ben Bernanke speaking at their Swell conference. This is going back till 2012, he said. So when we go back to this article and they say that Ripple is under siege, this is the problem, is that new people coming in, they see this, and obviously the trolls, they'll eat up anything that's anti-XRP, anti-Ripple, the Bitcoin maxis, the Ethereum maxis, and the overall haters that just don't want to see us make it. They'll eat this up. But my problem is with the new people who are just trying to get educated. These types of articles do mislead them. Now, this is in regards to the Bank for International Settlements Innovation Hub, a company owned by 63 central banks representing countries that make up 95% of global GDP, is creating a platform for international payments that would directly compete with Ripple. The announcement made by the BIS yesterday for the launch of the Project Dunbar comes after recent news about Ripple partners making progress on a SWIFT replacement system, and RippleNet being listed as a SWIFT competitor by an Arab Monetary Fund group. Right? So here's the thing, guys. If you look deep into this, you don't even have to look deep. Just scroll down and take a look at what this, alternative actually is. It's a proof of concept. They're still in the trial phase. They're still doing tests. Still have to do a proof of concept with all of their own projects. In a press release, the BIS announced that the central banks of just 4 countries are participating in this. So while Ripple has over 400 banks and financial institutions, over 20 plus on-demand liquidity corridors with complete global coverage now, essentially the only country that's holding this thing up is America. we have basically networks throughout the whole world, and we have 4 countries here that are talking about doing a proof of concept still, but yet Ripple's under siege. I mean, this is why this is such an absurd headline, and why it's unfortunate that so many outfits decide to do this. But this trial, this proof of concept, is just between Australia, Malaysia, Singapore, and South Africa. So, Project Dunbar, much like Ripple, aims to replace the old, slow, and expensive correspondent banking model of international transactions. Blah blah blah. Okay, let's scroll on down here though. This is what I was talking about. How this outfit will go the complete opposite way too. Right here, where they say against Ripple aligned. Check this out. Ripple aligned. Okay, so they put out this article earlier this week, and this was spread around the community about how the clearinghouse here in America, which settles $2 trillion daily, which I do believe Ripple probably would be a great solution for them. I know it would. But it got started to be shared around the community that Ripple was a partner with the clearinghouse. Now, in a distant cousin relationship, they do have a deal with someone who works with the clearinghouse. And there's many member banks within the clearinghouse that are Ripple partners. But, they put out stuff like this, Ripple aligned, which, at least they're not just outright saying that this is a partnership. But this is what I mean is these outfits are so desperate for views that they'll put out the most bullish takes on XRP and Ripple and extend the truth every chance they get. This is another outfit that always talks about the whale movements and how this could be leading to a pump, which, I'm not saying that we're not guilty. I'm not guilty of doing clickbait. Obviously, you want to get people to watch your videos, but we have to really clarify for people what's going on here. Because I've been saying with XRP Ripple, we don't need to fake any of our partnerships. We don't need to extend the truth. We really are doing the deals, right? But essentially, this is put on by the BIS. And if you look here, the BIS claimed they had successfully developed 2 prototypes for their common international settlement platform, Corda and Partior. Now, I want to remind everyone, let's go check this out. Corda is owned by R3, a blockchain technology company headquartered in New York. So R3 was founded in 2014, and Corda is a solution for banks, financial institutions, and I believe they say about 40% of banks worldwide are already using the Corda platform. But I want to remind everyone, okay, remember, R3 is still sitting on 1 billion XRP as of a settlement that took place in 2019. So originally, R3 wanted 5 billion XRP. This whole deal was Ripple entered into an agreement with an enterprise software firm, Option B Investor, which was R3, based in Manhattan, that gave the firm an option to buy up to 5 billion XRP at a discounted price in exchange for efforts to help Ripple develop a use for XRP. So they ended up settling for just 1 billion XRP, but the point being, R3 is still sitting on that billy of XRP, guys. They've never given it up, right? And the BIS has already developed 2 prototypes for their common international settlement platform, Corda and Partior. So the Bank of International Settlements in an extended way is already using XRP. I mean, they're already prepared to. They're already holding it as a reserve, just like Miguel Valles said in this clip. And as we've been saying, as you guys saw, Brad Garlinghouse on stage with the general counsel for the IMF, Ross Leclow. And he was up there looking way too comfortable with the chief lawyer of the IMF. As he asked, a question was asked from the crowd if the IMF was going to custody digital assets. And, he skirted that question, but Brad was so giddy up there on stage, just laughing next to his central banker friends. And so when we see news articles like this, I want you guys to go back to the research, go back to the fundamentals, go back to reviewing all of the partnerships that have been established by Ripple. And remember that XRP will always be the heartbeat of Ripple, according to Brad Garlinghouse. When I tell you guys that nothing can stop what is coming in terms of Ripple's success and the adoption of XRP as a world reserve currency that will be as liquid as a G10 currency, the deals have been done. We're waiting for the announcements to be made. We're waiting for the staged lawsuit to end. For the time being, please dismiss all of the FUD, come back to the research, make sure you're subscribed to this channel so that you can get the truth about not only Ripple XRP, but the truth about cryptocurrency, current events, and will help you prepare for the greatest transfer of wealth in world history, because while they got you distracted with apes, meme coins, panicked that we're going to have the World War III end of the world, okay, the deals have been done, the new system is ready to roll, and you have an opportunity to participate in this transfer of wealth. As always, I appreciate all of you guys for smashing that like button and sharing this message with other like-minded individuals. We will see you guys in the next one. Take care, and God bless.